I have a wild theory about Maelle, the paintress, Renoir and the disappearing people in Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. Obviously at this point, it's all a pure speculation on my part, but if I am right, this video will spoil some major reveals, so continue at your own risk. So my theory is this. The paintress is actually turning people into Nevrons, Renoir is Maelle's father, and Maelle becomes the new paintress in the end. The first piece of this theory came to me during the final scene of the reveal trailer. Maelle is kneeling in front of the paintress, holding a white ribbon letting out a tortured scream. That ribbon belongs to the members of the expedition, but she still has her own wrapped around her arm. This ribbon belongs to someone else and Maelle is covered in blood, and I immediately thought, she just lost every other member of the expedition and she just accepted that she has to replace the paintress. Yes, it was a completely unsupported thought and I didn't really believe it myself at that moment, but with that thought already in my mind, other pieces of the theory started popping up. The second piece is Goblu, the boss from the gameplay trailer, and there are actually two clues that kickstarted the rest of my theory. First, Lune noticed that Goblu only attacked when the expedition messed with the flowers, and second, Maelle said there was something familiar about Goblu. Those two things combined led me to the idea that people get turned into Nevrons, or at least they are somehow needed for Nevron creation. First, why is there even something familiar about a Nevron, a creature that is supposed to be basically unknown to the expedition? The answer: it's someone Maelle knew in the past. We know Maelle is having nightmares, so we may think she saw Goblu in one of her nightmares, but if that was the case, she would probably be scared of Goblu, not trying to approach it. However, if my theory is true and people turn into Nevrons, Goblu may have been a person whom Maelle knew in Lumiere. Then Goblu's number came up and they disappeared into dust, which is also connected to the flowers. Goblu only attacked when the expedition messed with the flowers. Look at that flower, look at the flowers at the meadow, and now look at the flowers during the painting ceremony. There are flowers everywhere, and Sophie even has the same flower around her neck. Goblu may be someone who remembers the flowers in Lumiere, who remembers their own disappearance, and that's why it is so attached to the flowers in the meadow. Third piece of the puzzle is Renoir being Maelle's father. In the cast reveal trailer, he says to Maelle, "You won't yet understand, but this is kindness." Or, "Why do you refuse to see that I am doing this for us?" This is Renoir's character description. Renoir is relentlessly driven and myopic in his quest to save his family. His grit masks deep pain, desperation, and fear of loss. His methods are his own. He knows that victory demands sacrifice, and he is fully prepared to pay the price. Now, from the previews, we know he kills the majority of Expedition 33. Those people turned to dust, while other people killed on the continent didn't turn to dust. So I think he knows what's going on. He knows that people who turn to dust get transformed to Nevrons. He knows that people who don't turn to dust just straight up die, and he believes he must do this to keep people alive, even if just as Nevrons. That is why he says this is kindness, and why he is masking a deep pain, desperation, and fear of loss. He ends people because he knows that is the sacrifice needed to save them. He may be trying to say this to Maelle, or slowly prepare her for what comes next. Because Maelle is his daughter, and he wants to save her. We know Maelle was orphaned when she was 3, so 13 years ago. That is when the number 46 came up on the monolith. Renoir would be 45 or less years old, and he could have been part of Expedition 46. Obviously he never came back, and Maelle just assumed he died, like everybody else. That would make him 58 years old today, which would fit Renoir's appearance and also Lunay's guess that Renoir is 50 or even 60 years old. Him being Maelle's father would also explain why he spared Gustave, who is Maelle's foster brother. It may also explain Lunay, because when Gustave tries to end things, she says, "If you do this, we both die." I have no idea if that was just a figure of speech or if there is some life link or something between those two, but if there is a link, it could work both ways, and if Lunay dies, Gustave also dies. So Renoir was forced to keep her alive as well. So Renoir may be trying to protect his daughter, Maelle, by the only means he knows. There is one final piece of the puzzle, and that is Maelle saying, "See you in the next life," which she could be saying to Gustave, who just died, and she knows she will see him again when he turns into a Nevron. And after all this, I think she will realize that for some reason the Paintress cycle cannot be stopped, and that she has to take the role of the new Paintress, so at least she can get control of the entire process. Yes, I know this theory has gaps, like why Ciel was also spared, or why Nevrons even attacked the expeditions in the first place. Also, I think the "no, I am your father" point is a bit too much in our face, and it might be a red herring. The devs may have put it in the trailers so we think he is the father, while they have a completely different twist for us. But we will get our answers soon enough. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 comes out next week on April 24th, and I can't wait to see if any part of my theory turns out to be right. You are awesome for sticking until the end, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye!